Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem, Al Shai Bashem, Rakakodah, Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of you elect out there, Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle, I'll make this super quick video. I'm going to entitle this video, E, Hey E, You're in Big Trouble, Boy. Mystery object half the size of the sun is headed our way. 31 Atlas, which they've been talking about, has rare high carbon dioxide coma. So I'm just going to let this play. Fair use. I slowed it down. And oh, this is what I did. I said, well, let's see how large the sun is. So I typed in, that's not what I want. How large is the sun? The sun has a diameter of about 865,000 miles, 1.4 million kilometers, making it approximately 109 times wider than the Earth and large enough to hold roughly 1.3 million Earths inside its volume. Its immense size is due to the gravity accumulating most of the matter available during the solar system's formation, Genesis 1, resulting in its colossal size that holds the entire solar system together. So what did it say? It said it's approximately 109 times wider than the Earth and large enough to hold roughly 1.3 million Earths inside its volume. So you can't compete with the angels, Yahweh Shai. A lot of precepts come to mind. A couple of them are Daniel 2, the stone. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and read that, and then I'll let the Dabu say what he got to say. So let me come over here. Daniel 2. So what Daniel actually saw was really represented a gigantic UFO. He saw the same thing that Ezra saw, and Ezra mistaken it for a mountain. He looking around, where did he get that mountain from? Daniel 2. Esau knows this. He watches us. Esau's scared. He's shitting at the old saying. He's shitting bricks. He's nervous. He knows he's going. There's no technology on this planet Earth that can deal with the technology of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And Yahweh Shai is coming back. And behind him it will be the second in command, which is Michael, and the rest of the angels. And Yahweh Shai is coming with in the ship so big it's going to be the size of a mountain. Okay, let me do this. Right, the divided Rome. There's a rebirth of Rome, which is, they say it's a divided kingdom. Let me see. Give me a second. Okay, it's right there. I was there, but I didn't see it. It says, Daniel 2, verse 44, and in the days of these kings, which is now, shall the Most High heaven set up a kingdom. The king, when we go out there on the highways and the byways, Jake standing up on his feet, a great exceeding army. It's talking about all the brothers out there and the sisters standing up to the fact that they're Israelites. It's not talking about the IUIC. They say, well, we're the army in Ezekiel. No, you're not the army in Ezekiel chapter 37. The army mentioned in Ezekiel chapter 37 are the elect standing up, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, meaning other nations. This kingdom is for the Israelites, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, the other nations, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest this, that the stone was cut out of the mountain. Oh, wait a minute, Ezra saw the same thing. It was the stone was not cut out of the mountain. It looked like a mountain to Daniel. Daniel said, "What is that mountain doing up there?" Without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron, the Roman Empire, the brass, the clay. The clay represents the United States, and part iron and part clay. That's the NATO nations and the EU nations, European Edomites. The silver is Medo-Persian Empire, and the gold, which is the Babylonians. The great power have made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof is sure. And let me come over here. Let me look up the word stone again. Okay, so let's come to the 33rd verse. His legs of iron, that's the Roman Empire, 2,000 years ago. His feet, part of iron and part of clay. That's talking about NATO and the EU. America and Canada are part of NATO. They all work together. NATO and the EU. NATO nations are some NATO nations are EU, also EU. Some are NATO and not EU. It says, "Thou sawest tell that a stone was cut out without hands." Now you come back down to the 45th verse. It says, "Out of a mountain, which smote the image upon his feet." What time period is that? What the feet? The feet. We're in the time of the feet. Part iron and part of miry clay. Partly strong and partly weak. So the Lord, our Lord, is coming in our time, not 1,000 years from now, not 2,000 years from now, not 50 years from now, not 25 years from now. The technology for the mark of the beast is already here. Once they make that thing mandatory, and the mass majority of the earth take that chip, then everything will move lightning fast. It said that were of iron and clay, and break them to pieces. Then shall the iron, the clay, and the brass, and the silver, and the gold are broken to pieces together, and become like the chaff of this summer threshing floor. That's, the dirt, so to speak. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. That's talking about Esau's kingdom, Babylon, Europe, and so forth. These NATO and the EU nations, they're gonna be here. They're gonna be alive, around in Europe and so forth, but they're not going to be in power. The scriptures speak about them not having any root, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, which is the kingdom of heaven, and filled the whole earth. Meaning we're going to control the whole earth. So let me come over here. So let this play. Fair use.
This is Dabu 7. We have some updated information here in regards to the 3-Eye Atlas. Is this thing really a comet, is the question. We have scientists all over the world giving their thoughts on this, and new data is now in. Especially the images from the James Webb telescope. They're showing that this thing is not off-gassing like a comet normally does. And if you can't tell from the images here, there is no tail on this alleged comet. Now, the information they have put out there already was that they believe that this has some sort of internal light source that's giving off this light. They said that it would have to be over 12 miles long if it was reflecting light. And now they've used some of their instruments to see exactly what it's off-gassing. And oddly, it's off-gassing a large amount of carbon and not a lot of water and other elements which they expected to see. Water and ice is usually what makes this fuzzy coma around a comet. And then the whole thing's lit up symmetrical with the smaller particles being pushed out the backside, which form the tail. As it gets closer to the sun, it forms an ionized tail. You can have what they call a double tail. But this is missing one. And it's moving faster than anything they've ever seen coming into our area. Now, the path of this has really caught the eye of a lot of people. It follows a retrograde orbit aligned within 5 degrees of the ecliptic plane. Super unnatural, has a 0.005 chance of being natural, and it's coming in passing close to Venus at 0.65 AU, Mars at 0.19 AU, and Jupiter at 0.36 AU. The probability of this is off the charts. They say there's no way that something drops down into the ecliptic plane natural and is on a course like this that's going to skim and barely miss all these planets out of nowhere. Then they released information on Oumuamua stating that indeed this thing was not a comet neither. It was an interstellar object, as they're dubbing, and it picked up speed as it took off out of here. And they say that when Oumuamua took off and picked up the speed, its expected trajectory did not match what they observed. This shows that there was something off about it, and it was long, cylindrical, metallic in nature, and seems to have been intelligently controlled. Now remember, Oumuamua stands for scout, and you send a scout out ahead of the larger military crew. Now all of a sudden we have this larger object coming in, of which we've never seen anything like it. And they do say that this carbon skin around it is pretty much hiding what's in the nucleus. Almost like it's being cloaked to a degree. And the artificial light that they cannot explain also makes this thing stand out big time. So the new images and the new data pointing at this is a Manhattan-sized object heading this way, 130,000 miles an hour, and the path that it takes through the inner solar system is peculiar. How it passes these planets almost in a, as if you're going to drop in to observe it type of manner. You can see right here, as everything goes into motion, you have this drop in, and it's going to come very, very close here to the sun. This is Oumuamua. You can see as it comes out the other side, right there's where it picked up speed. So both objects, very interesting, and they're still releasing data on this, but curiously, NASA and other big space agencies that gathered all this imagery, they waited some time before they even put it out. Is this going to be the new norm? Can't wait till it gets closer so everyday people can start to lock onto this thing and see it for what it is. So they're also saying that the coma around this whole thing is half the size of the sun. So if it came around the sun and it started to actually outgas water or any ice that was in it, if it was a comet, it could explode to as bright as the sun. Of course, it's going to be hiding behind the sun when it gets close enough for us to view it. All these things very odd indeed. And this is some of the latest. I'll leave links here. Join me for the live streams where I talk about this in greater detail, going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Right here on Dabu 7. Much love.
Shalom. On to the next. Shalom. Yeah, this place is done. This place is done. Mini tickle.